Imagine if a single decision could influence the way that your brain works forever. This is what happens when we allow certain drugs within our body. These drugs not only make us feel different, but they literally rewire the way that our brain works. I'm sure we've all heard the talk with our parents about how drugs are bad and how they can make us die, and so we just shouldn't take them. So I kind of want to move past this scare tactic, and then I looked into the science behind how drugs actually hijack your brain reward system, how they make making decisions a lot more difficult, and how quitting is a lot harder than a lot of people think. By the end of this speech, you'll understand ways that drugs reprogram our brain, and addiction is not just a lack of willpower, it's literally your brain telling you that you can't get rid of it. So our brains naturally release dopamine whenever we're doing something we like hanging out with our friends, listening to music, eating food. And I want you to think of your brain as a video game, and the points that you get are dopamine. So basically the drug is like a cheat code to the video game. So you just get an insane amount of points that you would never get if you weren't using the cheat code. The National Institute of Drug Abuse shows that methamphetamine actually increases your dopamine by 12 times the amount that you usually have, which is insane. So people get addicted because that makes them feel so happy. And it starts to make things when you're sober that you enjoy seem a lot less interesting, and you don't enjoy it as much anymore. The more someone uses drugs, the less natural dopamine they get. So they start getting dopamine from just drugs, but without it, they don't have any. So Dr. Nora Volkow, the director of NIDA, states, addiction is a brain disease, not a moral failure. Drugs change the circuits of brain, making self-control extremely difficult. An example of this is a teenager named Jacob. He got painkillers because he got an injury. They're prescribed, and he started using them, and it was fine. He kept using them, and then eventually his brain kind of adapted to them, and then he just became really dependent on them. So then he just felt like he had to keep using it to be normal. So this shows that quitting isn't just a lack of willpower, but when the brain's literally rewired, the withdrawal symptoms that you experience are just insane, and they make it almost impossible for you to quit these drugs. And then lastly, drugs weaken the prefrontal cortex, which is basically the part that helps you make decisions, make smart decisions. And Harvard Medical School found that long-term marijuana usage actually shrinks the prefrontal cortex by 10%. So that leads teenagers who are constantly smoking weed to not be able to make right decisions because their brain literally cannot tell them. So imagine your brain is a car, and then the prefrontal cortex is the brakes. So you want to make a decision, but you kind of hit the brakes because you're like, wait, what are the outcomes of this? And when you don't have any prefrontal cortex, then you can't really make a good decision. So this explains why people under the influence get DUIs and stuff. So, and basically the effects of drugs last you a lot longer than just the high. These will affect you going on, whether it's your decision making, whatever. So next time you hear someone say, oh, it's only one time, it'll be fine, just remember that your brain doesn't see it that way. Thank you.